Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our live Q&A session featuring director of the amazing movie, Carving the Divine, Mr. Yujiro Seki. I'll be hosting this Q&A this morning. Please extend a very warm welcome to Yujiro. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me, Raymond.
No, it's always great to talk to you. You know, I'm one of your fans. I watched your movie. I reviewed it. One of my other columnists also reviewed it. And so we really feel that the movie Carving the Divine is unique, and it really brings to life a world in which not many people know about, the world of the Bushi, and I hope people enjoy this weekend's film screening online, which you can go watch, everybody, in the link that we have provided on social media and also in our Buddhist Global newsletter. So Yujiro, as far as I'm aware, Carving the Divine has been a long work in progress, but the release date was actually just last year, 2023. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yes. The film was first released in 2019 at Film Festival, but that was not the complete form. We had to make adjustment on music. We had to clean the sound, and we had to do a little bit of more adjusting. Yeah. So, what happens is that, when people release their film at the film festival, many of the films are work in progress. It was very close to the complete form, but right. At the same time, we had to do a lot of work before make it really available to the public. So last year, 2023, finally, we will be able to lock the picture, we say. Finally lock the picture and proudly announce people that we are releasing Carving the Divine to the public. So what happened is that, IMDb, the film database website, so they put the date as a 2019 because it was the initial release date at the film festival. But, actual release date that we decide is 2023. And we tried to contact the IMDb to change that, and we are still working on it. So that's where we are. But, the one that you'll be seeing is the complete form. And we are very proud because the music is very pristine. The sound is very pristine. And the earlier version, we didn't have that. So that's what's going on. Yes.
Yeah, so basically the 2023, the sort of proper version, the full version, it has all the refinements and all the touch-ups that you would expect from a high quality film. Is that right?
Correct. You guessed it perfectly, because this is an independent film, and it took a long time, 12 years to come this far. And, during the process, we didn't have money sometimes to proceed expensive process, such as a sound editing. That costs so much money. And music, we have a Hollywood composer, Emmy Award-winning composer to do this. Yes. Because a few people can pull this off. As you can imagine, one music could destroy this film. One bad music. That's one
bad music, one bad track. Yeah. And so, as the director, I'm sure you were, kind of feeling very tense throughout the whole production. So it's not just at the shooting stage; it's also, in editing. Every single shot matters. Every single minute and second of the movie matters for someone like you. So it's kind of pretty stressful throughout the whole thing.
Yes, of course. But, my years of experience working in Los Angeles really helped. What happened is you have to be spontaneous about this kind of documentary. This is not like a talking head documentary. So where people can just see a bunch of other people talking in front of a camera, and we roll B-rolls. You mean the footage, and
Yeah.
put the film together.
Yeah.
That's not. This film is not like this. This is very observational.
Yeah.
Sometimes something happens in right away. I mean, without any notice.
Yeah.
And to be able to capture everything that we need, and we can edit it later to make sense out of this whole event. It takes some kind of skills, and if you are not experienced, I think you miss a lot. But before shooting the film, I had a bunch of experience already, so that really helped.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, people might not necessarily know that you were trained in Los Angeles. That must bring back a lot of memories. But you draw upon that experience, and those your training and your memories, to kind of put it into full use on this film. Like like how does it feel? Now having this beautiful movie, Carving the Divine, is sort of the summation of your schooling, one could say, or training in filmmaking at Los Angeles. Like, what memories does that bring back from your student days?
My student days. Yes,
Yeah.
I think when I was shooting Carving the Divine, I was always also students too, right? We are always a student.
Right.
But what I can tell you is that something that seemingly not so worthy sometimes, like all the business videos that I made, all the wedding videos that I shot, so like we had a show called Designing Your Future, which is about going all over Los Angeles County to feature design industry, interview different kind of professionals. We had this TV show every week. And, I mean, it was not anything spectacular, but really all the things that I shot, because I had that, everything become very intuitive. So, like, for example, there's a difference between long shot and the close up. You have to get the variety of the shot to be able to edit it later. You cannot just have a stationary camera, only one angle, but sometimes you can switch things around. How we can do that if you only have one camera? So, if you don't have experience, you won't be able to do that, because later down the line, you're going to struggle in editing room. You wish you had another shot, but you don't.
Yes.
But if you have a bunch of shots to cut and edit from, so it's a lot easier to make a movie like that. And you cannot really cheat when it comes to film like this, observational movie. If you have a bunch of interviews and a bunch of B-rolls, it's easy to cheat. You can make up anything, but you cannot make up the real life story happening at the moment. Yes, you can't.
Yes. I think we cannot avoid the elephant in the room, which is the movie market, the market for Buddhist films today. And I think I'm friends with Gaetano Maeda, who's the executive director of the Buddhist Film Foundation. We also have several Buddhist film festivals around the world, one of them being, of course, the Buddhist Film Festival, and the Thus Have I Seen Festival in Singapore, among others. How would you classify your film? Because this is a movie about Buddhist themes. It's got a lot of, it's basically talking about the process of carving Buddhist sculpture. What's the relationship between the film and the Buddhist film genre, and whether you think it should be put in that, or is it sort of like broader?
It's kind of deceiving, right? It's a difficult question because many people automatically assume this is a Buddhist film. And it is a Buddhist film. There's no doubt about it. But at the same time, it is not only in the confinement of the Buddhist film. So, it's a less to do with the teaching, if that makes sense. So, but the teaching is there, latent, it's hidden. And, the theme of Buddhism itself, sometimes something is not openly stated, right? Even though there's a philosophy, deep inside of that philosophy, there's another layer. That's what Buddhism is. That's what makes Buddhism beautiful. It's not like, you got to believe in this and that's the end of the story. That's not the Buddhism. But, when we make a film, often filmmakers have an agenda, or filmmakers have some kind of message already in their mind in the beginning. And you follow that script to make a film, which is a legitimately good way to make a film, because if we don't do that, it's going to take forever. It is very difficult to make an observational film like mine. It takes years and years. Many people don't have a luxury to do that. So this film is, of course, about the Buddhism. There's a lot of hints in the film that you can internalize as a Buddhist teaching. For example, let's say, I don't want to say it because I want you to figure this out. But for example, what is the doctrine of emptiness, right? It's so like, vague. And, for the first time, it's really difficult to get it. What is empty? I'm here. What are you talking about, right? And lose yourself. That's a very important concept, right? Because we have an ego, and to overcome the ego, we have to overcome ourselves to some extent. And to do that, we have to lose our ego, which is easy to be said and difficult to be done.
Sure.
But as you go through the journey with the apprentices, they have to lose their ego, right?
Yeah. I remember them. It's quite humbling, the whole process of making the Buddhist sculptures.
Right. So in that sense, I'm not going to go detail on this, because people are gonna lose the interest, right? Once they watch the film.
You want to keep things a surprise. You want to keep, that's completely understandable. Yeah.
But you got the idea. There's a Buddhist teaching there, and some people get it and some people don't. That's fine, because that's a Buddhism,
Yeah, I also won't spoil too much of the film, but how I watched it, when I watched it, it was extraordinary to see, to peer into the world of the Bushi. And I want to emphasize this to viewers, and it's really an extraordinary world, and with specific relationships between master and student, how they're supposed to behave, how they're supposed to work, get to training and sort of like carve out their sculpture. It's a very structured and difficult world. You have to work hard in it to even survive. So it's like an extraordinary world that no one knows about, including many local Japanese people. Is that right?
Correct. And we have to also keep in mind that we sometimes see things very superficial way these days, right? Like, for example, we all understand love and compassion is a very important thing. You don't need to be a Buddhist to figure this out, right? Like love and compassion. But love and compassion come in different kind of forms.
Yep.
And sometimes what people see in this film, they might not see it as love and compassion, but this could be as seen as a abuse or power harassment. Using the authority of a master to take advantage of students. But you know, and I got the comment like that before from other people. So one can be nice, but
Mm,
unfortunately, if you want to be best at something,
mm,
if you want to be the best version of yourself, sometimes you need a good master. Good master is somebody who's be able to reprimand and
mm,
demand a lot from the students so
mm.
that the students can be the best Bushi in this
Yeah,
case, right? So, I
yeah,
mean, you know, I mean, it's a sad because often we might think we can have the best of both worlds, but we can't. At least in Japanese culture, this tradition has been transmitted for over 1400 years through
yes.
this practice, through this way of teaching. And you cannot, somebody cannot just come in, you know, one day and say, hey, what you're doing is wrong. And, you know, do it a nicer way. And the students can still make the best statues in the world.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to work out or not. So, yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's tough. It's tough love, and I remember seeing quite a few instances of tough love in the film. And I think you're also correct. Like, you know, as an observational film, Carving the Divine does not place judgment on either way. You know, like you're not saying that it's the best way. You're not saying it's a bad way. I
Mhm.
think it's certainly because people are not familiar with the Bushi world and the culture of the, you know, these sculptors, then they kind of, you know, I think they have these knee-jerk reaction to sort of you know, imposing their own judgments on the world.
Mhm.
Um, you know, quite honestly, I don't see any other literature, certainly in popular media, about the Bushi. And so therefore, like it's kind of like, yeah, you know, your film is one of the probably the first that reveals any glimpse into into this world. So it's you know, people barely have begun to understand it.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah, and going back to if this film was a Buddhist or not, there's another like example here, right? So like you know, the Dainichi Nyorai,
mm,
that you know supreme deity of a Buddhist
China, yeah.
of a yeah Shingon Buddhism, right?
Mm,
Fudo Myo is a like a I don't know if that's a correct way. No reincarnation or, but you know, actually, Fudo Myo is uh, Dainichi Nyorai,
yeah.
right? So you know, I mean, Fudo Myo changes. Dainichi Nyorai changes his form to be Fudo Myo because the Fudo Myo is an angry face deity, right?
Wrathful, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wrathful, and you know, he reprimand people, right? You
Mm,
know, if you know, I mean, people can get the Buddha's teaching by Dainichi Nyorai,
mm,
serene Buddha,
yeah.
then you know we don't need to worry about anything. We need to have a Dainichi Nyorai, right?
Mm,
But to be able, sometimes people don't listen if somebody is not angry, somebody is not serious, right? So
yeah, yeah,
there's
yeah.
a metaphor into the Buddhism, and you know, there's films actually tells people
Mm.
that sometimes tough love is necessary.
Well, you're
Sometimes,
talking, yeah.
yeah, parents have to scold their children, not let them just walking straight.
Mm.
But I won't say that in the film. You know, that's why maybe people shouldn't listen to me because the people will be influenced by my opinion or my thought about this. So you know, I want people to just watch the film and don't listen to me.
Yeah, I think the film can be appreciated at different levels because, you know, as a Buddhist myself, I would certainly pay attention to the sculptures that are being made. So Fudomyo, Vairochana, Kanon, right? So there are these Buddhist sculptures being shown, being made in the film. Uh, but you know, if you weren't really paying attention to that, you might just see them as sculptures and not really see the meaning behind you know, the significance behind those statues, because they're being made to be worshipped. So this is one thing that is that should be stressed, that and it's not a secret, is that these sculptures are being made for, you know, temples, for home shrines and for places where religious activity will be held. So these are very important sculptures, and I think that feeds into the whole, you're talking about the wrathful side, like the tough love side. It's like, this is not just something nice. We're not just making something nice. We're making something that's going to be worshipped, that's going to be put into a very sacred place, wherever it might be. And it's going to be, people are going to direct their energy, their energy of reverence to this sacred object. And I think that maybe feeds into the demand for 100% excellence in the creation.
Exactly. That's a lot of responsibility, right? Like, how dare you think you can make a deity, right?
Yeah.
Buddhist deity, how dare?
Mm.
How dare, right? You make a deity that people worship. So that's a, extremely demanding. But you mentioned about the, for some people, they are just sculptures. Like maybe for the Buddhists, non-Buddhists, they are not deities, but just art, right? So in that sense, that people who are not Buddhist, who are interested in art and sculptures, still can watch the film,
yes,
and appreciate it. So in that sense, this is not Buddhist film,
right?
Yeah. So it could capture a wide range of people with one wide range of interest. Some people are not interested in Buddhism or not even religion, but some people are interested in Japan, the culture that they never seen before. So yes, so many people can see this film differently, which is very interesting, because in Buddhism, I think this is how things should work, right? We are in a different level of consciousness. Everybody.
I've always actually seen Carving the Divine as kind of a Japanese culture film, something based around the arts, culture, and I think you raised the point of how difficult it is to do an observational film, and this is so interesting, because it's unfortunate the fact that you can only do observational films with people like maybe National Geographic or Discovery Channel, and that art has been lost with independent small filmmakers, at least to my knowledge, because you have a limited budget. You have to have a message, right? You have to get that message through as soon as possible. What would you say about this observational film issue?
Well, it takes time and patience, and it doesn't mean everybody has a luxury to do it. Probably for me, it's a once in a lifetime thing. If people ask me to do another film like this, I would think twice. That's how difficult it could get. Also, to get the story of authentic story of Japanese people is very difficult. I recorded a bunch of interviews, actually, talking head interviews. I ended up only using one out of all the interviews that I shot.
Really?
Yes, because when I ask people questions, they don't tell you the truth.
Right.
They only tell you what sounds good. Right? So, my master, because of him, I'm improving thanks to my master. Those things. And they keep going with this. And it is not really their line, but at the same time, it does not really portray anything about what they're going through.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's also my concern.
Right. So by seeing what's going on and see their facial expressions, right? Their agony, their frustration, and their joy. Like sometimes they have a joy. And you can really feel it in your heart, rather than somebody telling you how to think and what to think. That's the thing that I didn't want to do more than anything else. I don't want to impose people my point of view or tell them how to think and what to think. That's what other documentaries do. Let them do it. I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
So that's my style. Yes.
I think that's kind of one of the it's important we don't reify, like ascribe universal things to a specific culture, like Japanese, Chinese, American, whatever. But I think you hit upon a point in which that even your subjects might feel uncomfortable with the portrayal, with like a full spectrum portrayal of the life of the Bushi. So as you said, the life of a Bushi is marked by moments of intense, difficulty and there can be difficult moments. There can be real dark nights of the soul. There can be real sort of as you said, agony. That I think that's the best word, agony. But like even though your subjects might be grateful, might be happy that you're showing their industry or discipline, so to speak. They sometimes not everyone wants you to show the whole picture.
Correct. So you have to earn a lot of trust, right? And of course, I there are more uncomfortable moments that they might not appreciate, but to convey the story of Bushi, I don't know that correctly. I'm sure there are different kind of workshop out there, and some of the places are less intense than the others. But I think the people who are known to be reputable Bushi, they have to have to go through this. If I just tell people the only pretty side of the story, they don't get it. And I think it is important to tell people this is what it takes to be the best Bushi.
Yeah. And I think I don't want to spoil too much, but I mean, all you need to do is actually watch the film and you look at the sculptures being made. Their quality is really something else. And I think this applies globally, whether in any culture, is that when you pursue the very best in your field, you are bound to make sacrifices. You are going to, have less family time. You are going to be more stressed out than other people. And you are going to feel more invested in, your certain discipline than someone else who might just say, okay, that's good enough. We're done, right? So it's like this is actually a universal human quality in some ways.
Yes, I do agree with that because, I mean, the film can only show you the partial thing. What I mean by that is to truly appreciate the quality of the statue, you have to see it in person. I try my best to give you this divine feelings, and some people get it, some people don't. That's fine. But film can do different things. Film can do close up, long shot, and really get into the details of the statue and give the people feelings. But when you sit or stand in front of the statue and see the presence of the statue, you can feel the difference between somebody who really knows what they're doing versus somebody who just put something together. You really feel it. And it's not only about the Bushi statue. Like for example, I went to Italy and saw La Pilata, right? Michelangelo's work. And, you feel something.
Yeah.
This is not really just a object.
Yeah.
There's a soul inside.
Yeah.
And to feel that, really, you have to be the best version of yourself. You cannot be like, hey, your friend, my friend, we are friends, and give me 5-5, and
you can't be that. There's no way you can be that casual. And I think you put it exactly right. Like when you look at for example, you refer to maybe Michelangelo's David or something like that. There is a soul inside there. There is you can meet Michelangelo in that sculpture. It's not just a finished product.
Correct. And the work lives long after the artist is dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, like I mean, it's insane that those statues from the ancient from the master from the ancient past still remain either in Italy or Japan or elsewhere. And some of the statue date back to, I don't know, 1,400 years, 1,300 years, or very, very old statue. And those people already had a skill set. And in some sense, those people, those masters are better than modern masters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think this film is probably one step, a big step, because it's one of the only steps forward to actually acknowledging those great masters, whether they constructed, the Dainichi Ryorai at Todaiji Temple, or whether they're sculptures made for private shrines or in smaller temples. Your film has really made the first step in acknowledging the expertise and the soul given to these works. So I want to, congratulate you on that. But here, you also said that if someone asks you to do a film of, of this kind in the future, you'd think, very carefully about it. Are there any upcoming projects or ideas that you have, disregarding budget, that you might be interested to turn your camera to?
At this moment, I'm focusing on promoting Carving the Divine because, Carving the Divine has been seen as many people as that I would like to yet, and it takes years. And because what's happening in this world right now is we are moving away from the quality of the art, and more concerned with who made it, or somebody who's famous.
Yeah.
And the celebrity culture, right?
Yes.
And it takes a while for people to get it. What I mean by that is like somebody, I mean, people, it doesn't look so sexy, this film, right? Like Buddhist statues. Who care about the statues, right? But when people watch it, many people realize why they watch it. They always say it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, to get to that, really, it takes time. And I mean, we talk about the years of production for the film, 2019 or 2023. To me, it's irrelevant. But film industry cares so much, as if the film is older, it's not relevant anymore. Which is not the case for this film, because this art has been in Japan for 1,400 years.
Yeah, it's
Buddhism
timeless,
has been here for 2,500 years, and a couple years difference. That's it. So I mean, it's a film is a commercial product, right? But at the same time, it's art. And if something is art, like a film like a Citizen Kane or something, that I mean, older film, it is always American classic.
Yeah.
And I mean, it doesn't matter if it's made 50 years ago or 2024. And to be able to convey that idea to people, it takes time. And Raymond, what I realized is, I mean, marketing is so important. You cannot just make a film, any great film, and hoping people is gonna just watch it just because it's great, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes we watch something, even though it's not good, just because they have a good marketing, so they make you feel that, well, you gotta watch this film. So
I have a feeling that I have a feeling that's part of the our Buddhist, the entire Buddhist world is something that we need to perhaps be less attached to. The stigma of marketing actually is something very important. And we know the film is great, we know the work is great, but there's absolutely a place to actually market and sort of promote. There is an art and discipline to doing that I think perhaps many of us haven't been trained in very well yet, or perhaps need more practice in.
Yeah, because the marketing sounds so cheap for us, right? Like
Yeah,
it's also degrading. Like how can you market like a Buddhist teaching? That's like the Buddhist teaching is not like that,
yeah,
right? So, but as you say, it is sometimes important to overcome a stigma like that because if there's no marketing, nobody would know
yeah,
something exists.
yes, absolutely. So we are coming to the end of our Q&A. Are there any final thoughts about the film, and what you would hope for people to enjoy the film? How it's been a long journey, and now we are just trying to get people to watch the film, to get more people to see the film. Any final thoughts?
Well, the final thought is that yeah, forget everything what we talk about today. That's the final thought, right? Like we talk about the range of things, you and I. But in the end, I think if you can watch the film as it is to discover about yourself, that's my goal. It's not imposing my thought or my ideas or my ego into you, but I want you to reflect upon your own life and perhaps discover who you are and discover something about yourself, and hopefully this would enrich your life, cultivate your life.
Yeah,
This is a big idea, but that's the main goal for me.
yeah,
The tale of Bushi is a very superficial story. It is not superficial, but tale of Bushi is just something in your face at the surface level.
yeah,
But what's inside of you, who you are, is just a lot deeper than the tale of Bushi.
yeah.
And through watching tale of Bushi as a metaphor, if you can discover something about yourself, that would be my greatest pleasure as a filmmaker.
Wow, I mean, that's beautiful. And this Q&A will be available on our YouTube channel later on. So for the record, I urge everybody to really discover for themselves, the beauty of this whole Bushi world, the beauty of the film, and in doing so, perhaps discover, as you say, a little bit about yourself. So, friends, thank you very much for, if you've come all the way to the end, watched all the way to the end of this recorded Q&A. There are 2 more days, as I understand, left of our live screening, and we will continue to be showing, exploring ways to show the film and to promote the film together with Yujiro. And Yujiro, I thank you very much for your time today. Thank you so much for your insightful answers to my questions. I think you say we should forget about them, but I'm not sure if I'll be forgetting about them. So
thank you. By the way, Raymond, we have a Chinese version, so like a simple Chinese and traditional Chinese. So I know there are some Chinese audience in your magazine, and maybe we can think about that too.
it's another project upcoming in the future, So thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time today. And I wish you all the success with further promotion and circulation of Carving the Divine. Please, to viewers, please have a look at the film, and you can also read our review of the film on our website. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a wonderful morning.
Thank you so much, Raymond. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.